Hello, everyone, and welcome to the session. And we hope to give you some good updates about the interesting field of handwriting analysis.
And Saachi, can you just introduce yourself?
Yeah. So, this is Saachi. I'm Saachi Arora. I'm currently pursuing my MPhil in clinical psychology. I'm a psychologist right now and a certified graphologist with specialization in health since the last 7 years. And yeah, Urja, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah. So guys, I am Urja Shah and have been doing graphology, like I've been practicing graphology since a year and a half. And I'm also a commercial artist and I have been practicing as a freelancer also as a commercial artist. And the main drive for coming into graphology was matching up in art with the science. Yeah, Saachi.
Yeah. So let's begin with the session then.
Yeah, surely.
So we have already we have been practicing graphology since a long time. So we have come across a lot of myths that clients usually have about the field. They come up with a lot of queries and questions, and there are certain myths that we know in these years.
Right.
So would you like to clarify those myths and update us with the facts?
Yeah, definitely. So, like a few of those myths which I've come across is like, can you specify the gender and age? So, guys, I would just like to say that graphology does not tell about your gender and your age. It does not cover up like who you are as an individual, it's male or female. It does not justify that. And the second myth which I have come across is does it says about like graphology tells about the future and everything. So this is a very biggest myth which I have come across. And to clarify, graphology and astrology are really two different subjects. You cannot combine graphology and astrology together, as graphology tells about your present and your past. It does not reveal anything about your future. You can definitely shape your present to make your future better.
Absolutely.
And a few facts to come across. So one was bad handwriting. So I would just like to say that there is nothing called as bad handwriting. It is just the way we look at our handwriting, and whatever your handwriting predicts or tells about you, it's all about what you are thinking and what you have been doing from ages. So that's what your handwriting replicates your life, and it's nothing good or bad about it. And another which I've come across is mood swings and like the handwriting changes. So there are two perspectives with handwriting changes. One is mood swings and another is with years. So while you are young, definitely your handwritings are immature, and while you're growing, your handwriting changes with ages. So that is the experience which we carry in. And secondly, about the mood, people have these complaints like when I'm angry, I have another kind of handwriting. When I'm happy, I have the joyful handwriting, etc. So that is just the way of expression of your handwriting, but the characteristics levels remain the same. Would you like to add anything, like if I've missed out some points or any myths you have come across?
No, definitely you have covered almost all the common things that we usually hear about it, mainly being about telling the future or, something that is usually compared with astrology. So definitely a very agreed point on how it's very different from the field of astrology.
Right. Can you actually just explain like how is graphology and science related? Like how can we relate graphology to science?
Absolutely. So a lot of clients, when they come across this idea of a handwriting telling so much about your personality, they come very shocked and they say, that how can a handwriting reveal something like that about us? They've been writing since childhood, and suddenly, they're getting this new perspective that how a handwriting is saying something about them. So I thought that, it is related to two sciences, not just one. One is psychology and one is biology. So I'm going to be giving a brief about both the sciences, about how, talking about from a biological perspective, one thing that is common between handwriting and our personality is the brain when we speak about biology. So our brain is controlling our personality, the way we act, think, and at the same time it's controlling our handwriting, the way we write. It's coordinating the movements, it's making the movements. So I've got a few diagrams here to give a proper demo about how the brain actually functions in the handwriting. We all know
Right.
it determines the way we act, think, and feel, but this is
Right.
about handwriting. So we all
Okay.
know the common basic elements of the brain. This is the cerebrum, a
Hmm.
section of the brain. This is the
Right.
cerebrum that controls most of the functions of our body. A area that of the cerebrum. This is called the striatum. It's a bundle of cells which plans the handwriting. That I'm going to plan to write on graphology. And this is the section of the cerebrum which is the motor cortex, which executes the planning. So once we plan, it has to go into execution. This is the area below the brain which is called the cerebellum, which coordinates the motor movements. So had the cerebellum not been functioning well, our movements would be very jerky. For a smooth movement, the coordination has to be there, which is provided by the cerebellum. Now, this is the medulla, which continues into the spinal cord at the back of our body. Now, we don't try very hard to write the same way every day. It comes very
Right.
natural, right?
Natural.
We write the same way. We all have the same handwriting every day. And that comes with the memory. So, spinal cord stores in the memory, which makes our handwritings natural. So
Right.
we don't try very hard to write the same way. It's just stored in a memory which comes up to us. So this is one science, the biological science. Now talking about psychology, which might interest a lot of you there. This is a picture of an iceberg. So you must be thinking, why am I showing a picture of an iceberg when talking about psychology or the mind? So this is basically Sigmund Freud, a very famous personality in psychology that you must have heard about, gave us the idea of the unconscious mind, and he compared it with the iceberg. The iceberg, as we all know, only the tip is seen above the water. Rest is beneath the water. Similar is the case with our mind. We are only aware about 10%. We are only aware about the tip. Like I'm taking a session here on graphology. That's my conscious awareness. My memories and everything else is pushed below. That's not in my conscious awareness. So the unconscious mind, according to Sigmund Freud, is basically everything that is unacceptable, everything that is painful to us, that we push down the drain. It can be anything. Like as a child, we are all socially conditioned to, say things which are appropriate, express things which are appropriate, and certain things are not considered appropriate. So whatever we are taught, like, expressing about sexuality or aggression, all these sexual, aggressive urges, impulses, all these unacceptable, painful memories and impulses are suddenly pushed down because of social conditioning. But that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. The unconscious mind still expresses itself, be it in your dreams, be it in your slip of tongue, be it in the way you act, believe. And one of the very common ways that it expresses itself is in handwriting, and which we don't realize simply because it's unconscious.
Right.
So that's how I would like to summarize how psychology and biology are related
So
and highly
deeply
related
connected.
to science.
Right. Truly said. It's completely true, like how the things are related with our brain nerves and our handwriting. That's amazing.
Yeah. Okay, so one more question that I would like to ask you, Urja, that, handwriting analysis, there is a reason why a person should get his handwriting analyzed. So
Yes.
he needs to have a very strong reason to get it analyzed. So
Right.
could you give us some idea about what are the benefits that we may have if we get our handwriting analyzed?
Yeah, definitely. Why one should get their handwriting analyzed from a graphologist or from anywhere? Just get your handwriting analysis done. The four basic strong reasons which I would like to bring to people is knowing your inner self. Once when you just analyze your handwriting from a graphologist, they bring up a complete you in front of yourself. Sometimes people might not know their inner truth, like I am doing this activity, but you don't know why are you performing that activity. So graphology brings you to that reality where it gives you a checkpoint. Oh, this is the reason why I have been practicing that handwriting. Second important reason, it helps you in career. It helps you plan your career well. Through your handwriting, you get to know about your strengths, your weaknesses, what are your plus points. So while like one person's, if he's very good in literature, that definitely depicts in her handwriting, in his handwriting. So
Yeah.
we can guide that person. Like as a graphologist, we help them to guide that you choose your career wisely. Like if he or she is going into some sports field, so we can tell them like that is definitely a good choice, but you should
Definitely.
try out for something which is related to literature. It might be of great help to you. Another point which I have experienced, which is more important, is talking about health. Graphology also brings you to a point where it relates you to health. It tells you like how fit are you, what exercise you should do, what exercise, like what type of exercise is fit for you, and it helps you to meditate. That is the best thing which I have learned because of graphology. And last but the best topic which the teenagers of today or the youth of today is facing, that is about relationships. So yeah, talking about it, it's like you can get to know your partner just before you decide to stay alive with them. That can be the
True.
best thing you should learn. You should get analyzed. Like just come and get your analysis done. It's that simple. You can get to know like can you really live with that partner for a longer while, or it's just the point of attraction between two of them. So this were the
Definitely.
4 points which I have come across a lot.
Definitely. Like it has definitely some contributions to compatibility with your partner or your personality growth. And definitely
Right.
because I have been more oriented towards health, so I couldn't agree more with you on how it can be a potential for, having a healthy mind and a healthy body and
Right.
contribute to good physical and mental health.
Right. Definitely. Definitely. So, also, like Saachi, you have been working as a graphologist and you are a certified graphologist also. So, I would
Hmm.
like to ask you that can you just give few tips for our viewers with like which can help them to know themselves like within a very few time?
Oh, definitely, definitely. I can do that. And since we have already spoken about how the unconscious mind has determined our handwriting all this while and we haven't been aware
Right.
of it. So, since we are aware of it, let's take some advantage of it and make some conscious changes in our handwriting and maybe
Definitely.
fool our unconscious mind for a while so that it
Yeah.
can, we can be better in these 4 areas that you just spoke about: health,
Right.
relationships, self, and career. So, very 4 brief elements that I'm going to be talking about is, first is the pressure. The pressure that we apply on a paper matters a lot. It can be basically a very extra heavy pressure or anything. We've always heard moderation is the way to go.
Right.
Yeah, so moderation is like anything in extreme doesn't work very well, be it for
Hmm.
any area. So I have got some handwriting samples to show you guys when it
Ah,
comes to
great.
the pressure. These are a few handwriting samples that I would be briefing you. So you
Right.
guys can see handwriting. The pressure is more visible
Yeah.
from the behind. You can see the pressure that is applied on this paper. It's a lot of
Hmm.
pressure. So moderation is definitely not a way out here. It's an
Right.
extreme heavy handwriting. An extreme heavy handwriting, indicates how your frustrations. There is something that you have been very disappointed about, something that you haven't been getting in life, or
Right.
you have. It's basically a lot of frustration, a lot of demandingness, and a lot of destructive tendencies in you. So, a lot of
Right.
pressure can also indicate a lot of anxiety within you. And talking about health, anxiety and increased pressure can be indicated very highly by the pressure. Also, I would just like to give a sign here that when I'm talking about health, it doesn't mean that this handwriting says that you have this problem like anxiety or anything.
Definitely
It
not.
just means that there is a potential within you to develop it in the near future if you don't take
Right.
good care of it. So,
Right.
talking about pressure, we have talked about one extreme, which is the heavy pressure. Talking about the other extreme is the light pressure. You cannot even see whether something is written or not. It's that light.
Right.
That also shows, your lack of involvement, your lack of interest in your day-to-day tasks. And when I talk in terms of health perspective, depression is something that resonates very much with this handwriting, lack of interest, fatigability, low interest,
Right.
low
Right.
energy. So something like that, a light pressure does. A very light pressure means very low involvement. So the feeling of pleasure, the feelings of satisfaction is never felt by a person, or chances are less. So I would now talk about the correct way of writing. The correct way of writing is basically, the pressure. So when you come, it's not a lot of pressure. It's an optimum level of pressure, which shows that you're adaptable to the environment. You have a good level of involvement with everybody, the good level of attachment, and your emotions are well in place. So your pressure is basically talking about the emotional level of involvement that you have. Now, talking about the second element after the pressure is the spacing. I would like to show you one more handwriting that I've got regarding spacing. You can see there's like a lot of spacing in the handwriting. So spacing talks about how social you are, So if you're like, your words are apart from each other, it shows that you want to be apart from people. You want to be alone. You want to be to yourself, and you love your privacy. So those people must be enjoying the lockdown a lot these days.
So much.
Because they're getting the privacy that all they need. So when the handwriting is close to each other, it means that they love people. They are very people friendly, and so that's what spacing talks about. So if you want to be around people, write closely. If you want to be away from people,
definitely, that's a good point.
Then comes the slant. I think this is a handwriting, a very beautiful handwriting that I've come across, which talks about slant. You can see that actually the handwriting is straight, and suddenly the handwriting goes upward. So some people ask, handwriting changed क्यों हो रही है? Why is it changing? Like अभी तो ऐसी थी and then it suddenly changed. So basically, why a handwriting changes is because not because your personality is changing or your personality or anything. It basically means your moods are changing. Your state of mind is changing. Sometimes we are happy, sometimes we are sad, sometimes we are in a hurry, sometimes we are at peace. So when you're happy, your handwriting goes upwards. You're happy, you're optimistic, your good energy level is there. When your handwriting is coming downwards, it's going down the drain.
Yeah, that definitely reflects with our mood swings point, which I just told about facts and myths. Like, it's nothing about good or bad. It's just the fact that you write, but the characteristics really remains the same.
Of course, it's just the mood, it's just the emotions, and every human is going through a load of them. So your handwriting is obviously prone to change with that.
Right.
Now comes the last element that I would talk about. That's the baseline. Now, when we talk about baseline, this is another handwriting. You can see in the word, it's straight from below. It's not changing or, it's straight. That means if your handwriting is straight, you're mentally and physically stable. There's a level of stability that you have. But if it's, becoming like this from below, it means that there is some level of emotional instability. Some level of mental instability. Basically, your moods are changing very fast, or your state of mind is changing very fast, which is what this is happening. So these are the 4 tips that I wanted to give on handwriting. From a health perspective, I have something in for you guys. This is something that I've made from a health perspective. Our alphabets have some zones, upper, lower, and middle. So when we talk about health, our upper zone usually talks about if there's a problem in the upper zone, there's a problem in the cognitive level, problem with your attention, memory, concentration. When we talk about the middle zone, it talks about how our touch with reality is a little distorted, or our common sense or practical sense is gone down the drain. And when we talk about our lower zone, the Y and the Y's and the G's and the B's, all of this talks about the lower zone. Lower zone basically talks about your biological needs and instincts, like your appetite, your sleep. So if there is any disturbances in these 3 loops, that means there is disturbance in the body to some extent. So I would just like to summarize by saying that if you want to be physically and mentally healthy, there are a few tips you can follow. Have an upward slant, have a constant baseline, complete your letters, and have an optimum level of pressure in your handwriting, and this can
Right.
keep you very healthy from a physical and a mental point of view.
That's truly amazing. Like you have just briefed everyone. Every viewer would be really happy to know that this basic tips can help them so much to improve. So, like you have explained it really amazing. Like I am really happy to share this live session and utilizing this lockdown in such a fruitful way by having this live conversation with you. So yeah, guys, get your handwriting analysis done. Like she is expertise in helping with respective of health. I am keen in designing people's lives. Like you just come here, you tell me that you want this route, and I'm here sitting, waiting for you guys to reach out to us and get your analysis done. So check out my page, like Urja Shah Graphologist. You can get the updates. You can get everything about graphology. Get in contact with us. You will definitely be briefed to the knowledge of graphology. And to add to our live session, I would just like to say, graphology is not just limited to we people who are learning. It is also for the people who come, get analyzed their handwriting, and change with the help of graphology. It is the most beautiful science that people can face in life. Saachi, over to you if you want to add something.
Thanks a lot, Uja, and I'm really glad to share this live session with you. It was an amazing experience, and it's really great that when I came and got to meet you for the first time, I was really curious about lifemap and designing your life. So, guys, please get your life designed by Uja. She's an amazing
Thank
designer
you.
of life, and do follow her page and get your handwriting analyzed as soon as possible so that you can improve all the areas of your life and get a better future.
Yeah, greatly said. Guys, stay tuned. Get your handwriting analyzed. See ya.
Thank you for seeing the session. See ya.